unique pizza shapes, teaching the baby to love pizza, and bringing pizza boxes back from Italy. This week, we're in Naples, Italy for a pizza judging contest.
Traveling the world to bring you delicious dishes, tasty beverages, and interesting experiences. This is the Destination Eat Drink podcast on the Radio Misfits Podcast Network.
I'm Brent Peterson. Welcome to Destination Eat Drink. Destination Eat Drink is for foodies who love to travel and travelers who love to eat. And this week, we're in Naples, Italy for an international pizza contest with Scott Weiner from Scott's Pizza Tours. But first, if you like the podcast, be sure to share with your family and friends. There's no better advertising than your personal recommendation. You can also support Destination Eat Drink by purchasing one of my foodie travel guides at buymeacoffee.com/Destination Eat Drink. Just click on the Extras tab and check out the foodie guides to cities like Seville, Lisbon, Milan, and many, many others. They're just $2.99 to $5.99 and cover all the best things to eat and drink as well as the coolest things to do. These are the places that I have personally found, personally been to, and love. So your support will help Destination Eat Drink, and I think you'll love the ebooks as well. Thank you very, very much. Scott Weiner from Scott's Pizza Tours and scottspizzatours.com in New York City takes pizza lovers all over New York City for delicious slices and pies. Scott was on the show a few months back talking about his cool tours, including the school bus tour, the backyard pizza tour, and when I found out Scott would be judging an international pizza competition in the birthplace of pizza, Naples, Italy, I reached out and invited him back on the show. Scott tells me about the different pizzas he judged from pizza makers all over the world and their interesting takes on the most famous food on the planet. Then we talk about Naples and some of the other kinds of pizza you can get there besides Neapolitan. It's a great conversation and I'm starving, so let's eat.
Destination Eat Drink.
Scott, you just got back from Naples. And I follow you on social media, and I was so excited to see that you were judging a pizza contest. This is probably heaven for you. Tell me about the experience.
Yeah, I love judging pizza competitions. It's funny because it's like in direct opposite of my normal existence, which is I don't like to write reviews or to critique. I only do that when I'm specifically asked to. So judging a competition is great because that's people bringing the food to you and saying, please tell me what's wrong, essentially. So I've been judging pizza competitions for at least 15 years. And this particular competition I've judged once before. And it's a really great one because you're in Naples. But the category that I was judging was the American division, which means that pizza makers from all over the world are making American pizza styles. So, they've got plenty of Neapolitans to judge the Neapolitan competition, but they need Americans to judge the American style competition. And that's what I was there for.
So how do they define American style pizza? Because when I had you on last time, you kind of, got me away from thinking that New York style pizza is one thing. It's this entire giant category of different things. And now we're going to add in all of America. Talk about a large category. How do they narrow it down, or do they? Is it just everything?
Yeah, it's really tough to narrow it down. And their rules in the American division were really loose. It was you have to use a tomato-based sauce, you have to have mozzarella on the pizza, and then beyond that, you could do anything you want. So really, it's getting more difficult to define styles. But I think what the world views as American pizza is large, pretty cheesy, and more heavy in flavor. So this is not a delicate pizza. It's a stronger, more assertive pizza.
So tell me about some of the entrants that you got in there. Were they from all over the world? Just the United States? Give me a description of a few of them.
Most, like the vast majority, were from the United States. But beyond that, we also had a lot that were, there were some Korean entrants. There were a couple of Japanese. But really beyond that, you're right, it's mostly Americans. So the American team that came over to compete, A lot of them all knew each other. There's sort of a club of people who compete at these things, and to see those people together, it's like they're competing against each other, but they are there to comfort each other as well. It's actually really sweet to see. It's like a whole club of people who get along and want to help each other out.
So it's a supportive environment. That sounds nice. Anyone from New York?
You know what? There was nobody from New York, which was not terribly surprising because the New Yorkers really tend to stay close to home. They see no reason to go somewhere else to be judged. Right. They say, I make the best pizza anyway, so why do I don't need you to tell me that. You know what I mean? It's like, it's like a funny thing where the New Yorkers aren't there. It's people who make mostly New York style pizza, meaning thin in the center, a little puff around the edge, light tomato and cheese, simple, and cut in it even wedge slices. And so there were plenty of people from where was it? There was a guy from Alabama. There were some people from Nevada. It's like a spread of people from all over the U.S. Plus, surprisingly enough, I forgot to mention, there were a couple of Italians who competed as well.
Oh, nice. So what were the different takes on it? Because it's always interesting to me when you see different countries take an American thing and then they try to recreate it. We were just in Lisbon last week, and there's a new place, and we didn't get to go because we were rushing to catch the ferry, but it said New York style pizza in big neon letters, literally on the building. I made mental note, got to go back there and try it, because it's always interesting. There was just a barbecue place that opened up in our city, and it's always interesting not only how they do their spin on it, but also how it is received by the community that it's made in. So I'm wondering, was the Japanese any different? Was the Korean any different than the normal American that you might see in, I don't know, St. Louis or Alabama, like you said?
Yeah, they were. They were sort of cartoonish. They seem to be like what American pizza was 30 years ago, and so this is how food tends to work, and like culture tends to work, where you idealize this version that's become popular over time, but it's very rarely the contemporary version until recently with social media. But we were getting these super cheesy pizzas, and we were like, wow, this is like American pizza from the 90s. This is not contemporary. So the contemporary American pizza makers from the US were making much lighter, more elegant pizzas that we tended to like more. But the ones that were making, as I say, the cartoony styles of pizza, those were the over the top, like, oh, Americans love it, cheesy. Here's a pizza with way more cheese than anybody wants, but isn't this what you want, Americans? And as it turned out, it really wasn't, but it was nice to see what they thought of as American style.
And TV commercials still reinforce that. Like if you see on American TV, like a commercial for Domino's or Pizza Hut or something, there's tons of cheese on those things. And maybe that's where they get it too. It's just fascinating to me because last weekend we went to every summer, every August, they have a blues festival in the next city over. And, I'm from Chicago, and that's what they basically play mostly is Chicago style blues. And, it reminds me like 40 years ago when I would go to Chicago Fest in Chicago. It's that type of blues music, but you really don't see that very often played in Chicago anymore unless it's, in a place for tourists or something like that. I mean, that's not a hard and fast rule, but I think that's kind of the same idea as what you're talking about, Scott.
Yeah, absolutely right. It's the thing that becomes popular is this version of what they think you like. So yeah, with Chicago blues, it makes sense. Oh, I'm going to play these classic blues licks and ignore all the evolution that's happened and what the scene is today. It's like when people come to New York City, they don't really care as much about the New York City of today as I think some people want to see the New York City of 20, 30 years ago, or the New York City that became popular in Sex and the City or Seinfeld.
Or in my case, like CBGBs. Something like that.
Yeah, exactly. And with CBGBs, it's like, even if you were in New York 15 years ago when they were still open, it wasn't real CBGB. You know what I mean?
Right,
it was
right.
But it doesn't matter because some people would come to New York today, and if they're punk fans, they want to go to the building that was CBGB's. And to the New Yorker who, I don't know, was there at the time, they say, why do you want to go there? That's just where it was. It's not a big deal. But the true believer fan like me, I want to go to Naples. I want to go to a pizzeria that was around in the 1880s, and I want to eat there, even though the local will tell me, but they're not good. They don't make good pizza. And I would say, I don't care. And I don't care that the flour that they use and the tomato that they use now is completely different from what they used to use. I just want to exist in the space. And that's why you want to play Chicago blues when you're in Chicago. And that's why you want to make the cheesiest, aggressive flavored pizza at the American division of the pizza competition, even though that's not what the judges really care about.
No, that's so cool. So you said there were other categories. You were judging the American category. What are some of the other categories? I'm sure there was a Neapolitan category. What else?
There was Neapolitan. There was a Pan division. There was Roman style. And I think there might have been something that's called Pizza Classica. There's usually Pizza Classica, which is sort of like general European pizza. Small, thin, crispy, gourmet-ish toppings. And the categories are roughly the same every year. Sometimes you'll see something get more popular, like Roman style is becoming a little bit more popular recently. So I think that category is probably bigger. And then you'll see in a few years, if it continues to get bigger, it might split into two categories, because Roman style is not necessarily one thing. Just like I told you, New York style is not necessarily one thing. It's like, as the category gets bigger, that's when you say, you know what? We need to find tighter divisions for this. And that's why every year at these pizza competitions, you'll see, oh, now they have a New York slice division, because so many people are entering a New York slice pie that maybe we should give it its own division, like Detroit style. Now right. Detroit style, this thing that was non-existent 20 years ago, suddenly is so popular that it's going to get its own category.
Yeah, it's funny when you talk about Roman style pizza, because for me, mostly when I go to Rome, I don't spend a ton of time there. You know, I'll go and I'll do a couple of things and then boom, it's off to a different place. So my experience with Roman style pizza was going into those, for lack of a better term, like a lunch place, and under the in the deli case, they would have big slabs of pizza that they would cut and they would for lunch, and then they would weigh them out. And when I had Katie Parla on the podcast, she talked about, and she's like, yeah, that's one. We've got like 7 different kinds of Roman style pizzas. So when they say Roman style, I'm like, okay, I think back to what Katie was saying. I'm like, I wonder which kind of Roman style pizza that they were actually doing, or maybe they were doing all of them. I don't know.
Well, that's just the thing, is that Roman pizza al taglio, like what you're talking about, is totally different from Roman, I don't know, pizza tonda, the kind that you get in a restaurant.
Right.
And so then you have to specify, well, what do you mean by Roman style? Just like when I said New York style is so many different things. You might say, oh, well, that's not New York style. And then I might say, what are you talking about? Of course it is. It's all over New York. Why wouldn't it be New York style? Same thing happens in every place. Like you can't just restrict it to being one thing. It's so hard.
So did you get to try any of these others? Like after you were done doing your work, doing your job, did they do like at work when they put all the pizzas out in the conference room and they're like, go at it, guys?
So you're telling me that after tasting 15 to 20 pizzas for the day and then going out to eat pizza all night, you think that I'm going to go to a table and have more samples? Well, actually, you would be right if they did do that.
I think exactly that, Scott.
Yeah, I know. I would do that, Brent, but they unfortunately did not provide that. And if they did, I wouldn't have had access, because you're really stuck at your judge's table. If you leave and a pizza lands and you're not there to judge it right away, you're going to get it too late. So even you have to time your bathroom breaks. You know, you wait till the perfect moment. Okay, I just finished judging a pie. Now I'm out of here. I'll be back in 90 seconds.
Do you get chummy with your other judges? Do you guys compare notes, or is it, secret ballot?
It's definitely secret ballot. All the judges know each other. We all get along really well. This year, one of the judges had never judged before, but I think he was the winner from last year. So, he was like a little on the nervous side, and I was next to him, and I'm very careful about the rules. And I think all the other judges know this by now because I've been doing this so long. I think I've been judging these for 16 or 17 years. So the other judges know that I'm very strict, and you do not discuss the pizza while you're judging it. When everybody hands in their sheets, you can put your heads together and say, was that a little weird to you? Yeah, it was kind of weird to me. Yeah. And then that helps us keep us calibrated. So if I find that I'm disagreeing with everybody, it might make me think a little bit harder about how I'm judging. But we certainly do not compare notes, not during the competition.
So you got to spend some time in Naples away from the pizza competition. Tell me about your experience there. And it's obviously not your first time there. You've judged contests there before. Do you have favorite spots where you like to go and, get some food?
Oh, man, yeah. I mean, this was my 5th or 6th time in Naples. And every time I'm there, it's always pizza focused. But this was my first time bringing my family there.
Oh, nice.
So my wife and 1-year-old daughter were with me. And my wife had never been to Naples before. So this was like my big opportunity to be like, check out this city that I love. Let me show you all these great spots. And let's hope our daughter likes the pizza here because it's her future. So so I wanted them to go to a place called Le Figlioli, which is this great fried pizza place that's run by these sisters. It's been around for it must be almost 100 years. And it's just this beautiful little place. So we went there. I really wanted to take them to a new place called Pizzeria Salvo. So we went there, which is a place run by a guy named Ciro Salvo. And it was exquisite, unbelievable. And then I feel like we always have to go to Via Tribunali, which is that main street with all the tchotchkes and trinkets and tons of good food. And, it's just like, it feels like the real electric life of Naples is that street. So really, really fun for us to go and check that kind of thing out. But we have limited time because we're there for the competition. We went to Pompeii one day. That's always beautiful.
Mm-hmm.
But, it's kind of like going to New York or Chicago. You can't go for 4 days and say, okay, we're going to do everything. You have to select what you're going to do, ignore the things that you don't plan on doing, and remind yourself that you'll be back. And it's better to have a trip where you enjoy the few things. It's better than not enjoying a million things.
How do you like Gino Sorbillo's? Because I hear divisive things, but when I went to Naples a few years ago, I really liked it a lot. But I've heard some folks are like, well, it's gotten too busy, it's gotten too touristy. But when I went there a few years ago, I thought it was great. So
the truth about pizzerias is that when they become really busy, it's really hard for them to keep up. Gino Sorbillo's place gets very busy. Pizzeria Da Michele gets very busy. It doesn't mean that the pizzeria is bad when they're putting out a pizza that's not at perfection. It just means that you have to choose the best time of the day to go. Because going to Gino Sorbillo when they are crazy, I think is not setting yourself up for success. They put out 1,300 pizzas a day. It's crazy. But it also means that if you want to get a great pie, when they're really busy, you need to order a pizza with less on it because it'll cook better. If you order the pizza with the capriccioso with everything on it, it's going to cook poorly. So if I go at a busy time, a margarita or a marinara.
There you go. There you go. And how did your daughter like the pizza in Naples? A little 1-year-old.
Oh, my God. Oh, I have pictures of her eating all the most amazing, famous pizzerias, places that are just like my favorite places. And it was so adorable to watch. She loves bread. She loves tomato. Cheese, she's okay with. It was just amazing. She ate everywhere.
You got a second generation coming up right behind you, Scott. So
I keep telling her, I said, this is your future.
Teach her well.
You got to pay attention.
That's right. I think I saw this on your social media, but I can't remember. But I saw something that I wasn't familiar with called a Carnivale pizza.
Oh, yeah, the Carnivale, absolutely. So It's a pizza that I've only seen, at least in Naples, I've only seen it at a place called Da Attilio. And they've had it on their menu since the 40s. And it's a round pizza that they stretch it round and then they cut notches into the crust. So they're perpendicular to the circumference, if that makes any sense. And then they take ricotta or whatever you want and they put it in between those little cuts. They fold up the dough and it turns the pizza into a star shape. And I order this. I've had it in the US. There's pizzerias that do it here. But the oldest one that I've seen do it in Italy is Attilio. And it's so fun. It's like, it's just such a cool thing to see a place that's been doing this for decades. That's not the typical one-shot Neapolitan pizza. Because I think we all want to believe that, like, oh, the margherita pizza was the first pizza, then the marinara came, and then everything else is a bastardization. But the reality is, pizza is something that they've been playing with for 300 years. It's not, there's no purity in pizza. It's always whatever you want it to be.
Yeah, no doubt. And I love the fact that it's constantly evolving. And when I saw this Carnivale, I didn't realize it's been, 80 years or whatever, because it looks so stunning on the screen. I'm like, this was made for the world of social media because it just looks so striking when you see that picture of that Carnivale.
Yeah. Oh, it's so cool.
Did you mention that you were at some of the fry shops as well? Because that's one of the highlights for me when I go to Naples.
Oh, yeah. We only went to one, but if I had another few days, I would have been doing the quopo, the fried seafood. I would have been doing more of the pizza frita. Oh, I love it.
Last time we had you on the podcast, Scott, you talked about your pizza box collection, your Guinness World Record pizza box collection. You have the largest collection of pizza boxes in the world that you keep in your storage unit. So my question to you is, did you add to your pizza box collection while you were in Naples?
I did. In fact, what I did was I met up with a friend of mine who I had actually never met in person before. When I was working on my pizza box book, which was like 2013, I don't remember how, but I crossed paths with somebody in Naples who's from the US, and she offered to help me get some boxes from Naples and do some translation. We met up in person, and she brought some of her most prized pizza box possessions, and it was unbelievable. So I brought back not many, but maybe about a half dozen.
Awesome. And I know that you have another addition to your storage unit, not only pizza boxes, but you've got something special in there now from John's of Bleecker Street. Tell me about that.
Oh, boy. I do. So John's of Bleecker Street is this old pizzeria. It's been around since the 19-teens. And in the late 50s, they put in these benches that now everybody's been carving their names into for decades. But they decided to get rid of the old benches because so many names were carved into them that the customers were getting splinters. So they replaced them with new versions of the same shape of bench. And when I was in Italy, I saw a post that they were getting rid of them. I called them up and I said, you got to save me a couple. I'll pick them up as soon as I get home. So I went over there with Frank Pinello from Best Pizza, and we picked up 3 of the benches, and now they're in my storage unit, waiting for some sort of future life.
What do you think's going to happen? I mean, they're sitting in your unit now. Any ideas?
We're going to probably auction off a couple of them for Slice Out Hunger, which is my nonprofit. And then we're going to, the big goal eventually is to open a legitimate historical pizza museum.
Oh, what a great idea.
Yeah, really, really, really cool.
What else would go in your pizza museum?
It's hard to isolate objects because there are very few objects left from pizzerias, but we can definitely get our hands on some old pizza peels, some old signage, booths. I have tables from other pizzerias, actually. I have an old Famous Original Ray's, 2 tabletops from Famous Original Ray's on 23rd Street. Tons of stuff like that, but it's a history museum separated into 3 generations. There's the original generation of Naples, there's the early New York generation of coal-fired pizza, and then there's the generation of classic New York by the slice pizza. So I've got whole ideas for it. If anybody listening is interested and wants to help, what I'm looking for right now is an architect to help me visualize the concept in just sort of like a conceptual design so that I can bring it around and start to raise some money for it.
Anyone who wants to get in touch with Scott, we've got his contact information in the show description. So architects, get on that. He needs your help for the Pizza Museum. I love this idea. Oh man! And then out back at the Pizza Museum, you need to have a bocce court. So that's my
it's a great idea.
That's my only input. Yeah, my favorite pizzeria. Unfortunately, that's not there anymore. But my favorite pizzeria in Rhode Island was right across the street from the ocean, and they did Neapolitan style pizza. It was amazing. Actually, the pizza maker, the owner, he was or I think he still is, a firefighter in Harlem. And he would drive down.
Really?
Yeah, he'd drive down on Thursdays. They'd be open Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. And then he'd drive back to, sit in the firehouse and wait for the alarms to go off. But they built a bocce court right next to it. And man, I have some great memories of playing bocce and eating their Jenny Oo pizza, one of my favorite ones that they had there. So anyway, I love your idea. This is great. You got to keep us posted on that one.
Have you ever been to Buddy's in Detroit?
I'm familiar with it. My family lived in Detroit when I was very little. And back then, I mean, this is in the 60s. Detroit pizza I didn't even know it was a thing. I was a little kid. And now Detroit pizza is such a big thing. I hear everyone talking about Buddy's. Never been. I'm going to have to go.
Yeah. But the reason I think about it is because they've got a bocce court.
Oh, do they?
Right outside of Buddy's.
Oh,
you
that's
have
awesome.
To go.
Oh, that's so great. I love bocce. The one thing, one of the things that we weren't able to bring over here when we moved to Portugal was our bocce set. So that was one of the things that we had to part with when we left the United States. So anyway, we're heading back to the U.S. here shortly, and I'm sure we'll find someone in the family who's got a bocce set in Rhode Island, and we'll probably break it out.
I'm sure you will.
Toss it
it's so cool.
Around. Yeah, it's so much fun. So Scott Weiner from Scott's Pizza Tours, great talking to you about Neapolitan style pizza. Like I said, we'll have a link to you. So if folks are heading to New York, they should definitely be booking a tour with you. Thanks again for being on the show. It's been a delight catching up with you.
Oh yeah, thanks for having me. It's always great to chat.
Okay, that's Scott from Scott's Pizza Tours. You can reach him at scottspizzatours.com. And don't you just love his enthusiasm? I guess when you're making people happy with pizza all day, it's pretty easy to be enthusiastic like that. Well, that's it for this week. Next week, we're in New Zealand for the most unusual ice cream I've ever heard of. Don't miss that. Until then, get over to destinationeatdrink.com. I just posted a story about a special pastry from Aveiro, Portugal, that has close ties to the city's maritime heritage. You can read that at destinationeatdrink.com/blog. I've also been busy getting a new video out. It's about the market that is called one of the top ones in all of Portugal, in all of Europe, really. And the best part is it's a 5-minute walk from my house. You can see all the great stuff there. I buy by clicking on the video tab at destinationeatdrink.com or by going to my YouTube channel at Destination Eat Drink 946. And I recently posted a bunch of ebooks at Buy Me a Coffee. You can get my complete foodie travel guides to a bunch of cities, from the big ones like Seville, Spain, to smaller ones like Évora, Portugal. But all of them have something really cool, unique, and delicious to offer. And you can buy them at buymeacoffee.com/destinationeatdrink and click on the extras tab. And I guess since we're getting into late November, I should mention, make a pretty nice Christmas gift. And best of all, it's super easy to give because it's an ebook. You don't have to wrap it or anything. Thank you very, very much. Destination Eat Drink is distributed by the Radio Misfits Podcast Network and Ed Silla. Thanks, Ed. I'm Brent Peterson. I'll see you down the road.
Join us next week for another culinary adventure on Destination Eat Drink, a presentation of the Radio Misfits Podcast Network.